Hey everybody, welcome to Titan Avenger Gaming. This is a special podcast we are doing tonight. This one is about The Last of Us Part 2. New video game came out this summer. I've streamed it, so make sure you go look at Titan Avenger Gaming on YouTube. But right now, Lawdog Avenger Gaming is currently streaming it. He just did a live stream of the first video game. If you haven't watched or play the video games, I want you to go out and either buy them, watch our videos, and keep up to date with them, or just listen to the story. So we plan on talking about this and just kind of moving on forward, and kind of recapturing some of his plays or his episodes, and just having chat and dialogue about what's going on. So let me bring Ross into our conversation. Hello.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Well, how are you?
Oh, I can't complain.
All right. So before I connected with you, I gave our listeners a rundown on what's been going on. Let them know that you have streamed the entire first series. You are currently streaming the second one. I've also streamed the second one. Now, again, as a little recap for everybody, if you haven't watched the series or played the series, please play it. If it's not your kind of game, then this might not be your podcast you need to listen to. But let's go ahead and start. The first game. Let's just kind of have a brief touch on that. So you played it.
Yeah.
To kind of give you a recap going into the second one, which makes a lot of sense. I wish I would have done it, but I was just too excited to play the game in the first place, and I couldn't do it.
I did have an advantage there on that because I didn't have the second game at the time, and when I got the PlayStation 5, it came down pre-downloaded with it, the remastered edition because of the PlayStation Plus package.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got the PS5, I was like, well, I'm not going to play. I'm not going to play Last of Us 2 for a while. So I was like, well, I might as well go ahead and refresh myself because it had been, oh man, I guess probably about 6 years since I played it last. Because I think I played it not long after you did, and it would have had to have been when I got a PlayStation 3, which would have been around Christmas time. So I just took advantage of it. It's like, hey, I might as well go ahead and play it again.
Now, have you played the prequel to it?
No, I haven't played the prequel yet. I need to.
The prequel I've played one time, which I still liked. I got that. I didn't buy the DLC pack when it was available, but I did when I bought the remastered. It came along with it, so I played it then. And I started playing the game for the third time and didn't make it too far into it, and then I just got into other games that I had. So again, about the first game, I think the biggest impact of that game for me is the opening scene, where you're in control of his daughter. His daughter's freaking out. She doesn't know what's going on, and then they're Joel, and also before we go on, if anybody's playing the game or not wanting to know what's going on, don't listen because we're fixing to give spoilers big time. Anyways, but they get to the scene and they're trying to get out of town, and the cops telling them to stop.
Yeah.
And I'm already kind of into the game because I'm curious. Really, I didn't really know what the game was about at the time, and the guys tell them to stop, and all of a sudden, after a little confrontation, shoots
And yeah, and kills Joel's daughter, Sarah.
His daughter. And I was kind of like, what just happened? Like, she's still alive. Like, she got shot, she's wounded. It's fine. And then all of a sudden, it jumps in the future. And I'm like, wow, she died. And right then the game had me. Like, it was so emotional for me, and I hadn't even really played anything but walked around and tried to run away from infected people. And the game had me. And from then on, him developing the relationship of Ellie like being her daughter, me being more intrigued about her being bitten and not being infected, you know. And then the ending of it, which you and I talked about before, the ending is him lying to her about what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And her was supposed to be worked on because she's the cure. Come to find out she was going to have to die to get the cure. He didn't want that to happen, killed everybody, took her and went to his brother's ranch or whatever. And she says, please tell me the truth, that you told me everything was the truth about them. Mm-hmm. And he said, that's it. That's the truth, which it was a lie. And I'm thinking, okay, he's lying. And then she just looks at him, brief pause, and goes, okay. And then it's the end credits. There's no Marvel scene after credits or anything. And I'm like, wait, that's it? And that's intrigued me. And I've been waiting all these years for this game to come out. And I'm not going to go into anything for you because I want you to enjoy it. But I enjoy the second game. I really have. Mainly the graphics for one. It's just been great. So going into the second game, first off, the last episode you did. It's very similar to my episode. This is the one I was telling you about that I was chatting with you. That scene where that little dude, whatever it is, was crawling on all fours. She pretty much said the word right out of my mouth because that freaked me out. I didn't even go into any other rooms like you did. So you're a little bit braver than me. I saw that and paused, and I said, all right, guys, that's the end of the night. See you later. TAGaming Avenger Gaming. And I closed out. And I was lucky I said that. I signed off, and I was like, it's time to go to bed. And that's the same thing that happened in the first game. The first game, I was playing, and there was a bunch of suspense scenes, and I was like, 2:00 in the morning, I think I'm done. You know, I'm 30-something years old in my bedroom with, you know, my wife laying in the bed asleep. And I'm done. No, I'm done for the night. And same thing happened here. I shut it off. I went to the living room, watched TV. And so the next night, I'm like, well, I'm going to stream it. Man. And I streamed it, and I started out, and everybody can go watch my episode. I don't know which episode it was, but it said, hey, everybody, you're probably wondering why I kind of got off so quickly the other night, but I was freaked out. And then I said, I think I even said something to somebody that now you know why I don't video myself during these things, you know, because it freaked me out. Now, throughout the game, though, both games, you know, I go in here and I'm ready. I open up a door, checking, looking around, and I go in. I go and I check another door all carefully. After about 3 or 4 doors, I'm like, oh, okay. So when I open that one up, everything jumps out and gets me and everything, and I'm freaked out again. And so then I'd go through the whole motions again, 3 or 4 doors, and then something jumps out. But before you play again, good luck. Because that's all I got to say. Those little boogers look like, yeah, they're creepy. Especially when you're just looking down that hallway, and then you go into a room, and then you come out of the room, you look down the hallway, and it's there. So,
and let me just speak about that from your experience versus my experience. What I think is cool, and it's so simplistic when it comes to the game, the way the game developers made that scene, because you say you didn't even go in a room.
Well, no, I went in that. So I think I went into the bathroom like you did. I went, turned down the hallway, and I was like, oh, here's a room. Let me go in here. And I think I'd got the items and stuff. And I saw that person laying in the bathroom dead, looked in the toilet, the stalls. And I came out, and then boom, saw that creature. The creature took off.
Yeah, it takes off.
And I stopped right there.
Anytime register, you're like, oh, I jumped, man. I did. I was like, oh my gosh.
I jumped too.
Like, what was that?
But that's where my scene stops. I'm pretty darn sure. If we were doing a broadcast online right now, video, I would try to plug that video in there right now. But I didn't sit there and go into another room like you did, walked around and come around. I was done.
Yeah, because if you go watch my live stream, what I did is I saw it take off, so to the right, which would have been its left. Of course, I went around the corner to see. I was like, is it still here? And it wasn't, because if you notice, if you look up, there's a hole, there's an opening. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to go through there. So I know whatever that thing was is back there. But I had my gun drawn because I kept expecting it to jump out at me. And even Ellie was like, well, that's not good.
Yeah, she's right.
She's like, what was that?
And now I can't remember this. Actually, I don't think I stopped right there. I'll take that back. I lied to everybody that's listening. I did go around the corner. I didn't go in that room to the right that you went into, that little office. I went around the corner. My lights started going out. I shook my controller, and I was like, I looked down that hallway, and I was like, nope, I'm done. Done for the night, guys. My flashlight sticks and go out. I'm going to throw my controller because I'm shaking it so hard, and I'm done.
It freaked me out too.
All right, so got that out of the way. So that's the part I've been waiting to talk to you about this entire time. That's probably the most freaked out I was in the game. So tell me about. Start off from the game. So tell me what you thought so far. This any of the storylines that have caught you, or just kind of lead me from the beginning on, what you think.
Well, The Last of Us has been a game, that me and you have loved from its first release. When you first played it, I remember being in your game room or whatever, and when we were still living in Warren, and I was like, dude, I can't watch you play that game, because I wanted to play it too.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did play it, especially right now, because this is what I remember the most, because I just got through playing it. It's hard to think back 7 years to the first time I played it. But these are the type of games I love to play. I'm not big into open world games. I'm not big, like Fallout and Elder Scrolls, which are great games that Bethesda came out with. But I'm big into role-playing games. I'm big into storylines and character development and background. And, in a lot of these games, obviously, you have action, you have fighting, you have combat sequences and all that stuff. And but this game just, I don't know. Naughty Dog, for one, is one of the best game developers out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, they even said, Druckerman said, isn't it Druckerman?
I think so.
He said, we want to do a sequel. We are not going to make a sequel unless it is the perfect storyline and it makes sense. And that's what's taken. And it's taken so long, the fact that now they are thinking of a HBO TV series that they're working on a script for.
Now they're coming out with a Uncharted TV series.
Mm-hmm.
It's either a movie or a TV series.
I think it's a movie because it's got old Spidey in it.
Yeah, it's got Spidey in it. And anyway, Naughty Dog, man, they have made some absolutely incredible masterpieces over the years, from the Uncharted series to The Last of Us. what else have they made? I mean, come on. Uh, anyway, those two great series right there alone. But what obviously, the post-apocalyptic nature of the game, the storyline, the characters, the battle sequences are really cool. And to me, it's like, everybody talks about, oh, what would you do in a zombie apocalypse? So like, oh, I'd go get my family and, I'd arm up and I'd just start killing all these zombies. And, so you put yourself into the game. That's what I did. Like, this is what would I do? If this was me, if I was Joel, what would I do? Especially if I had a kid, or 20 years ago was shot and killed in my arms, how would I react? The emotionality of it, trying to survive is what they're trying to do in this game, is trying to survive. There's no cure, there's no vaccine as far as they know. This is the first person they've ever come across that's ever been immune, and they know they've got something with it. And now you're trying to trek across the country. You take Joel and Ellie across the country to get them to this destination, and everything you come across bandits and ex-military guys.
And it's weird because even in this game, there's like groups of people that are not infected that are fighting the infected, but they're all against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's weird. It's, I guess, like, if you think about the real world, you got like, Republicans and Democrats and stuff like that, but like they're all fighting for the same cause,
but against each other.
And the storyline kind of hints on, like who they are and things like that. But it's just crazy because they're willing to shoot each other, and like you're killing them because they're going to kill you and attack you, and it's just crazy to me because I didn't really think about that until this game. But so this game starts out, you're on the ranch, and there's been a falling out where Ellie has found out that Joel lied. And you can tell that's where the tension is. And so you're kind of going through that phase. Then you find out that Ellie and Dina kiss, and now they have what looks like to be a relationship, and which that's whatever, Now, have you come across the scene where they do something?
Well, that's like one of the first scenes.
I mean, no, I meant like where they a little bit more than make out in. No. I want to say it was in. Okay, so like it goes into that, and I won't go any further than that. But like
to speak to that, and this is what I do appreciate about it, because it's not so much the fact they're not really focusing, as far as I know, to the fact yeah, Ellie's a gay. Ellie and Dina are lesbians, whatever. It's like I said, it's a fight for survival.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing throughout the entire game. You're trying to survive. That's what they're trying to do. I think that's what the game developers really have to focus on, because this is a post-apocalyptic infection that everybody, like I said, everybody talks about it. What would you do during a zombie apocalypse? Well, this is a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
I could go back to the first game. They don't have a clue as to what's going on. All they know is that people are going crazy, biting each other, killing each other, either people eating people. They don't have and it's like, we got to get out of here. It doesn't, it never focuses on the fact, okay, well, what happened with Joel and his wife?
Yeah.
I'll talk about that, because when it comes to like romantic relationships, you can't focus on that, because if Dina gets bit, she becomes infected, she dies.
Yeah.
But Ellie loses somebody she loves, which she lost Joel.
And then you don't know how many people else are immune, because
they could be, because like Joel said, they could be hiding it.
Yeah, they could be hiding it. They would need to get bit to show it.
Yeah,
but it might be one of those things like, okay, I can't remember offhand, but okay, it takes 3 days before we start losing our minds and going crazy. But they've been bit, and they've been bit for a year, and you're kind of scared because you don't know what's supposed to happen. So what are people going to think of you? Are they going to kill you too, or
Yeah.
But then again, you kind of don't want to be around the people, because you start losing your mind, and you're going to start wanting to bite them. So it's kind of like, I'm just going to kill myself, or I'm just going to run off.
And that was one of the scenes in my last episode, when they found the two, I guess, people in the camp that ran off. Had a J on his backpack. They found him up there in the hotel, I believe. They were trying to go to the music store, and they had to cut through the hotel, and they found, it's like, oh, this is the guy that ran off. He's the guy that ran off last year, and he wrote that note and said, I couldn't let her turn, so I killed her. And he said, but I'm too much of a coward, and I couldn't pull the trigger on myself. It's basically that's verbatim what he said, what the note said.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, it's not. I love how they do focus on a little bit on relationships, but it's not so much that you're like, oh, it's all about them being gay, or it's all about somebody falling in love. It's like, no, it's more than that. It's about people who are trying to survive, and they get close to these certain people, these other survivors, and then when you lose somebody, it hurts that much more, because there's not very many people left. And that's what I love about this game, because it pulls you in that way. It makes you think about your own life and what you would do in that situation and how you would feel.
Yeah.
And, because and then you get drawn into the characters, and because you spent The Last of Us with Ellie and Joel, and you saw them get closer. You saw how Joel started to connect with Ellie, and how you could see how he saw her as Sarah.
Yeah.
He was the daughter. Ellie became the daughter that he lost. And so that's why it hurt him, and he couldn't let her go. He couldn't just say, yeah, all right, fine, if it's going to cause a cure for mankind, take her brain out, do what you got to do. No, he said, no, you can't do this. Like, this is my daughter. He didn't say that. I think he felt it. And and in turn, like I said, it pulled me in.
Well, I think too, if, let's say, he just had to take her across town, that was the only person they trusted to take her across town, she'd be dead. He didn't develop a connection with her. He'd just be like, okay, let's get this cure going. You got to kill her? Okay. Now he might not be for that really, but he didn't develop a connection with her, and he's just like, she's just another girl. He kind of really didn't want to do it in the first place, but then, like I said, that's his daughter, and what tends to think of her as his daughter, and so now he doesn't want her to die. That's just too much. He'd rather them keep fighting than develop immunity to it. But and that's what's. So you've played into it, and I watched the scene, and I saw the scene too. Joel and Tommy are out doing patrols and stuff, and they come across this new character named Abby. Abby is a linebacking looking girl. Like it's what amazes me with her character is the graphics of her character. She is so buff and toned up. Like, you can tell.
I noticed that too. Yeah.
Like, she's not she's not really even a boyish person. She's all girl, but it's like she's a leader and she can handle her own. And then you have Ellie, who is scrawny and just like a little child, especially in the last one, that can handle her own. Two different people, but yet
Tough,
they can,
both tough as
yeah,
nails.
they're both tough. But I wasn't liking the whole Ellie and Joel being upset with each other. Ellie saying, "Well, it's gonna be okay," and then Joel is trying his best to make everything better, and like that was like breaking me up because now I'm kind of like, y'all gotta. I need to know what's happened in the last 5 years. This driving me nuts. Which I know she's upset with them, but like there's got to be, they need to make a DLC pack with a prequel to this because I kind of want to know what's been going on this ranch.
Yeah, because it's definitely grown from what we saw in the first game to this little, walled in town that's by the river, and now you've got this full blown city, huge gated walled city with multiple, almost look like size of your town,
Yeah.
And so yeah, you're right. Something's happened within the past 5 years for them to get from that point to this point. For Ellie to find out that you lied, because you could sense that tension in the very first scene of The Last of Us 2, that something's off between Joel and Ellie. And again, the way they develop this game and these characters pulls you in so much, because like I almost cried when I saw Joe get beat to death.
Well, that's what I was fixing to move into. So, they come across Abby. Abby tells them, "Hey, we're stationed this house," and they go in there. I knew something was up. I really did, and I was like, and there's been rumors about that Joel's supposed to die or something like that, and I have to say, I wish Joel would have died further in the game if that was the case, because I wanted to see more of him and Ellie together, maybe resolving themselves, a little bit further. Maybe coming together one last time and apologizing, and even like in the same scene, let's say they work it all out, or there's like fighting and stuff, and somebody's fixing to die or something, and somebody finally says, "I love you, kid," or something, and then dies, something like that. But they go in the house, and Joel can sense right away. He goes, "I expect you know us, or you've been looking for us," or whatever he said. He knew it right then.
Yeah.
And then they blow his knee off.
Yeah. And then
attack Tommy, and then they start, like they want to make him suffer. And then Ellie goes out looking for him because they hadn't shown up. And then she walks in on it, and she's trying to push him, even though he's probably just blacked out to the world, because he's concussed, probably got internal bleeding and everything, telling him to, get up. And then, and then she just gets that club and cracks him one more time against the skull. And that was it. And like, I knew it was coming. I really did. But I was thinking somebody just couldn't shot him off a horse. Somebody couldn't just had him getting, I guess like to catch me again. That's further along in the game than his daughter died in the first one. But I was like, all right, it's time to go get this girl. I'm kind of like Ellie.
Yeah. There's another thing too, is the way they made me want revenge. Like, I want to catch Abby. I want her to suffer the way she made Joe suffer.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't beaten the game yet. I don't even know how far I'm into it, or how much farther I've got to go. But I know I'm getting there. I'm honing in on them and I'm just ready. I'm ready to catch.
Well, I know in some of your scenes, like the the radio tower, radio station, TV station, whatever it is.
Yeah, right. Right now, the last part I was at is Jesse showed up. Okay, and then we go back to the movie theater and talking to Dina, and I was like, Dina says we've got. I think it's right. This girl is right here. It's not Abby, but it's another girl who probably would know where Abby was. And they, of course, Ellie says, I'm going right now. We may lose her if we don't go. And, Dina obviously stays behind. Jesse's like, well, let's let Jesse rest up and he can go with you. She's like, no, I'm going right now. And so that's the last part I'm at. So I'm headed down Route 5, I think, towards either radio or the hospital, something of that nature. And of course, these scenes, like you said, these scenes are getting freaky, man. Like the scurrying monster, whatever the heck that thing was. But even a few episodes ago, when I walked into that, I think it was the TV station, and the savagery that was in that scene where they had hung 3 people, and it wasn't Wolf, it was another faction. Feel Her Love. I was like, I'm ready to see who that is. I was like, I want to know who these people are, and because this is not Wolf, I think they're calling them Scars.
Yeah.
They're referring to Ellie as. They're referring to Ellie and Dina as Scars, but they're like, who's that? We're not. Who's Scars? What are Scars? And but back to my original point. Man, the way it's like I said, and I keep hitting on this, is the way the game developers have used these characters and grown these characters so much where you feel what they feel almost. Like you feel like Ellie, like you want revenge for Joel. You want to find out who these people are, what their thinking is, and take them out and make them suffer the way Joel suffered.
Yeah, and
so shocked. I was like, no way, man. Like I thought Joel was going to be there to the end, and him and Ellie were going to, they were all finally going to be happy, and they were going to say, just like we're done, we're happy now, we're going to live life, and then next thing you know, he's getting his leg blown off by this chick, like you said, by this linebacker, and this group of people, and we don't know who they are. They call themselves the Washington Liberation Front, Wolf, Fear the Wolf, I guess. And
now, I can't remember. Did she say who she was and how she knew Joel?
No, she didn't. Okay. So here's what happened. Like when they.
So you don't know anything about her yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
We're supposed spoiler alert for anybody who's listening. I knew something was up when it switched to them. And at first you're like, who are these people? This ain't Ellie or Joel.
Yeah.
And you're playing as these characters, walking through the snow. You end up, but they're standing on top of a cliff, pointing out to one of the outposts. That's probably where they're on patrol at. And they're like, well, he might be over there. Like, we need to find a way to draw him. But they don't say Joel. Draw him out.
I know.
Who are they talking about? But you kind of get the hint, like, they got to be talking about Joel. They got to talk about somebody important.
Yeah, I kept thinking the same thing too. I'm like, when I was first playing, I'm like, is this? And when I was looking at the character, because I knew they were doing flashbacks. And I was like, what flashback is this? That's not Dina. That's not, I was like, I don't understand what's going on here. And I was like, well, maybe something's going on. And I was thinking the same thing. Why? Who are they talking about? Like, what do they mean? And they're trying to find this person. Is it a bad guy? Is it another doctor? Is it somebody who's immune to it? Like Ellie? Like what's going on?
And then you play this character as Abby for a little bit, and you're like, well, maybe she's got to be good. She's got to play some type of good role because we're playing as her, playing this character.
And then you're playing the bad guy.
Yeah, and then you don't even know because like she's running from zombies, running from the infected, trying to get away, and the next thing you know, there Joe and Tommy show up, like save her, we're gonna be good. And then they walk into that house, and he's like, I'm Joel, it's my brother Tommy. We gotta place down the mountain. Y'all should come and resupply. Like, oh yeah, that sounds great. And then they're like, Joel, did you say Joel? He's like, yeah, you heard of us? And they're like, oh yeah, we've heard of you. And then bam.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, that's where it all goes to crap. And then you're just sitting there shocked because you're like, and you see Joel's leg, like Joel just his leg is severed. Almost.
Oh yeah.
Completely off.
He's probably gonna, even if they don't kill him, who knows if he doesn't bleed out.
Yeah, bleed out. His leg's definitely gonna have to be amputated. So it's like if Joel survives this, he's gonna be legless. He's gonna have one leg. They're gonna have to get. I was like, man, so Joel's messed up. Joel's out of the fight right from the get go. And then next thing you know, she's beaten him to death with a golf club. And I'm just like, whoa, like I was not expecting this at all. And now I don't know if that's the preview scene. Like when we first saw the very first preview for The Last of Us 2 a few years ago, when she's playing the guitar or singing her song, and here comes Joel walking in. He's like, all right, he's like, you okay, kiddo? And she's like, I'm gonna kill every last one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And now I was like, I don't know if that scene is in the game or not, or if this is a preview, but of her seeing Joel as a vision, like as a in her own head after what's been done to him, knowing like I'm like they're gonna get what's coming to them. I'm gonna find every single person who was involved in this, and I'm going to kill them. And we've already gotten to a few of them. I think maybe 2 or 3. I know at least 2.
Hey, do you remember who the person was in that TV station or whatever that you found?
I don't remember
Dina?
who she was, but
well, there's a character named Nora.
Yeah, I think she was there that night, but I can't remember. But obviously, I know Dana was like, "Is this the one?" And she said, "No, this ain't her." But I can't quite remember who that was or what involvement she had with Joel's death.
Well, I'm going to tell you. Do you know how many hours you have played?
I would, yeah. I could go back and calculate it really quick. I played.
Like you're playing about an hour each episode, right?
No, well, a little more than that.
How many episodes do you have?
I've gone up to 7.
So we'll say
next episode will be episode 8. I played. The first episode was 1 hour and 17 minutes. The third was, I'm sorry, where is the first episode?
Well, let's just say, so you've played at least 7 hours, right? So you could possibly
probably closer to about 8 or 9 hours.
That's what I was going to say. You've probably got at least 20 more hours of gameplay.
Whew, okay, so I'm not even halfway through. Oh, about halfway through.
No.
Well, that's good.
Because I think they said someone going through the game and, trying to explore the map and stuff is probably going to push 25 to 30 hours.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, because I put it on hard mode, and with hard mode, which is the very first Last of Us I played in hard mode. Now, when I played the second time, which is the one I live streamed, I just played like regular mode because I don't want to get into. I just want to play for the storyline this time, which is usually what I do if I'm playing a game for the very first time. I usually try to play it hard, and then if I go back and play it again, I was like, I'm just playing for the storyline. I'm not trying to do anything difficult or, for my recording or anything like that. This is strictly so y'all can watch it and enjoy it without you having to watch me die over and over again.
Yeah.
And but since this is the first time I played The Last of Us 2, I went ahead and did hard mode, which I knew was going to be a little bit obviously more difficult, and supplies were going to be harder to come by. Which if you watch episode 6, that's a perfect example. I had nothing. I had no bullets. I had no alcohol. I had no bandages. I had nothing. And I was legit like, I don't know how I can get out of this. And maybe it's designed to be that way. I don't really know. Because if you watch me play, like I search everything. Like I'm going through every room multiple times to see if there's anything I missed. Because like that's the very description of the mode that I'm in is like supplies are going to be harder to find.
Yeah.
And if you like that, especially in episode 6, of my episode 6, it came to that point where I had multiple people that were looking for me, and I had like 3 bullets, and no, I didn't have any supplies to make med kits, Molotov cocktails, bombs, anything, smoke bombs, anything like that. So I was like, I legit do not know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And luckily for me, it came to the point where I got to a certain point and it went straight to a cutscene, and that's where Jesse came in. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
It just makes the game so much harder. And that's probably why it takes more time, like 20 to 25 hours, because you're spending so much time scrounging,
Oh, yeah. Because I'm always going through every single room I can, checking every single building. I could just walk through the map and probably cut off 3 to 4 hours of the game.
Yeah,
and just walking straight through.
And in The Last of Us 2, there's a lot, especially in the first few hours of the game. There's a lot of open space, especially when you get into Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
After you get through the first checkpoint and go up on the hill, there's this big grassy knoll, and you got to go. I think you got to go through the bank, maybe, or the courthouse. That's what it is. You got to go to the courthouse, but there's like 3 or 4 buildings up and down that area, and you're like, check them all, because you don't want to miss anything, especially if you're in like harder mode, because you're gonna need it when you get the game. And you're right. You could skip all that if you want to, cut out probably 3 or 4 or 5 hours of the game, but I would think that at some point you're going to get to a point that you just can't get past because you don't have the supplies to do it, because you've neglected to play the game. You play a key point of the game, which is to find supplies. Which to me, like, that makes the game so much more fun.
Yeah.
Because you come across something, you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, I think it was in maybe my episode 5. I came across a safe that I couldn't find a combination to. So, it was back and forth till I finally found it. It probably took me, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes just to find that thing. And in the last episode, I spent probably 10 to 15 minutes trying to get through a door, but I had to go outside on a ledge and go and get across to it's like a bridge that was broken, an awning that was broken, or fire escape, something of that nature, and to get in the opposite side, the other window that was broken, so I could get in and find those supplies, which there probably wasn't anything in there. But I probably spent 10, 15 minutes trying to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
But that's just to me, like, that just makes the game more fun, because like it's a puzzle that you got to solve.
Yeah.
And Naughty Dog they're pretty good about that, like throwing those little puzzles in the game, in their game, especially like Uncharted. Man, Uncharted is, since it's a treasure finding game, you got to solve a lot of puzzles like that, and I like doing that. Those are my type of games. You got to solve the problem to get what you need to get to the next level, instead of just fighting a monster.
I know, but well,
I love it, man. I love it.
It's like it's not over. I will say this without having to go into it anymore. It changes. I don't know how else to say it. It changes. It's still very impactful. Don't know what to think about the ending. Well, I know what to think about the ending. Just can't say anything now until you reach there. But like you'll see, just like when I said, there's a part that scared me. You know, I watched your live stream and you were talking about that scene where there's all those bodies inside that TV station. They're all hanging there. Yeah, that was freaky. You know, but that was nothing compared to that little guy crawling on 4 legs. You know, I made it through that whole stage. This one I didn't. If I could have left the building, I'd left the building. But there's so much more things that's going to happen. Even when you think the game is over, it makes another turn. And then when you think it's over, it makes another turn. You know, or you think that, you know, just like I was saying a while ago, you think you're safe. And so you're like, well, I should be able to go in this door just fine. And as soon as you open the door, either somebody from behind you or somebody in that door jumps out at you or jumps out of the bathroom stall. It's crazy. The maps, you know, you've always got to go over an obstacle, whether it means you got to crawl, you know, crawling over houses to get places, crawling over broken bridges to get something, going around this normal route. And then you see off in the distance, that's where you're supposed to be going, but you can't go this way now because there's flooding. It's crazy. Like you said, it's like a puzzle.
Yeah.
And like I said, you'll see. I look forward to talking with you more as we go on.
Yeah.
I'll probably do the same thing. I'll probably wait till you get about 14 hours in, or maybe another big, huge moment like the Joel scene, or even the scary scene like you just ended on. Or if you say, hey, we've got to chat about this tonight, then we'll do that. If it's that big of a moment that you came across, but we will do that leading up. So, do you have any more comments or anything about the game?
No, just if whoever's listening, ever listens in the future, man, we highly recommend this game.
Yes.
I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it probably won Game of the Year at some point.
Oh no! It's one. Hold on.
But I'm sure it won multiple awards.
I will find this out for you. Like, now I've got everybody in suspense. So, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunts was the most awarded video game of all time. Okay. And this is Game of Year awards. So, you know, numerous outlets.
Yeah.
Okay. That game, somebody's out there they probably play the game. They probably already know. But how many Game of the Year awards do you think that game had?
Oh, I have no idea.
Give me a number.
15.
15? Need to go up.
Talking about The Witcher?
Yeah.
I don't know, about 30.
You're still off. They had 260 awards. 260.
What?
Last of Us 2 passed him at 261 right now. I don't know if that's all the awards they can get. They can still get more awards. I'm not sure. But they passed them a month ago, I think, maybe a couple weeks ago, with having 261.
Well,
Let's see. It says, as it stands, these awards are split between 169 media outlets and 92 Reader's Choice. They said they will pick up at least a few more Game of the Years before it's all said and done. So they're fixing to just keep going on with the record.
So
261 Game of the Year awards. That's how great this. And you can't say, well, that's just because it was highly anticipated. that means it could be highly disappointed too.
Yeah.
Just like think about these movies when people say, "Oh, I can't wait for this movie come out, the sequel, because the original," and they give up to so much hype, and then they're like,
"Oh,
that's stupid." Now,
think about
the movie was probably as good as the first, or if not better, but some people put it on such a high pedestal, and then they're like, "Oh, it didn't meet my expectations." Just like season finales or series finales of TV shows, people are like, "Well, it's got to be the best ever." But writers want it to be just like the other 200 episodes. And then people are like, well, that was disappointment. That's stupid. But it ends just like every other episode did. It's as funny as every other episode, and people are disappointed. But I have to say, which we'll talk about this, and we can both share, what our disappointments were about the game. Because there are some, just like, in the first game, I still have some things I question. I'm like, well, why did this happen like that? And I still think, why didn't Joel just tell her the truth? So I still have questions about that, but there's a reason why it's game of the year 261 times.
Absolutely.
Like that's just all said and done.
And I'm not a game developer by any means. I don't know every detail that goes, that needs to go into the game to make it work. But I do know the biggest, things that people look at is, for one, graphics, background, gameplay, overall gameplay, the storyline, the character development, voiceover, battle sequences, costume, the way, villainy, heroes, and all the stuff. I mean, and maybe that's like you said, they didn't want to do a sequel unless they knew it was going to be top notch, which is what Naughty Dog is. It's one of if I had to pick a game developer to play a game with, it's going to be Naughty Dog. Hands down.
Well, and you have to say with this game, this is not next gen game. You said you were playing on PS5, but this is a PS4 game. And this is, yes, it is one of the last few PS4 games for the PS4 system before the PS5 came out. And so it's a 2020 game, but like the graphics on it just blow my mind.
Dude,
now I can sit here and say, like, if you looked at this game, you would possibly say that that's a PS5 game with as good as how the graphics are. When you look at like the Spider-Man Miles Morales game and some of these other PS5 games, you're like, wow, look at the ray tracing, look at the detail, look at all this stuff that this processor is pushing out on this new PS5. That is how good these graphics are. And like you said, it's not just the graphics, it's the storyline, it's the characters, even the real life people who, like the girl who plays Abby, I think she plays Black Widow in the Marvel Avengers video game. The guy who plays Joel plays Bruce Banner, I think, or Captain America in the Marvel's Avengers. They're just voiceover actors. But the thing is, this is like a production for them. This is what this game was. And these people are famous. There's no other probably video game person. They've probably done hundreds of video games. But, from Call of Duty to Kingdom Hearts to all these other games that you don't know who they are, but they're a popular person in the industry, but you know who these people are.
Yeah.
And some of these people, they're known. Laura Bailey is the girl's name. And you look up her name, and I don't know about her specifically, but when you look up somebody else in this game that's a big name person, you're going to see they have not done any TV shows. They have not done any movies. They are a video game person. And they are acting out these scenes because they're doing their emotions, their likenesses. Yeah. So
they put their heart and soul into it. And Naughty Dog, and I'm not just saying Naughty Dog, but the games that are Game of the Year edition are developed by game designers who put their heart and their soul. They're not into it, and they're not going to release something that's going to be trash. They know it's going to be trash, or like, and just fiddle far around and just do it half cocked. And I go, it's just so anticipated. Everybody's gonna love it no matter what. No, I love that you said that. I love that they said that. We're not doing this unless we know it's going to be perfect. It's going to be what the gamers want, and it exactly is what we wanted.
Yeah.
Everything about this game is top notch. Like there's several times. I mean, not several times. But there's been a few times like I've stopped, and this is the first time I've really ever done this, and I've actually taken a screenshot
Mm-hmm.
on PS5 of the background because it looks so real.
Yep.
I've actually stopped so that my whoever watches it a few times, like I've stopped and like panned around so people could see how real and how well developed these graphics are in this game. Because it's just amazing. It pull like everything
gotcha.
about it pulls you in. It makes you want to keep playing it. It makes you feel what they feel, see what they see, and it makes you feel like you're watching a movie that you're getting into control.
Well, it makes me excited for the series, and I'm pretty sure that the regular character's not gonna play him. They're gonna get more lookalikes, but it makes me because he's helping produce it, so I'm excited about it. But Ross, I appreciate you tonight talking. Like I said, um, I know you've been excited about this just like I have. Can't wait to talk to you more about it. And we'll try to plan this for later. So this is just like a little special, I guess you'd say, Christmas edition event. I guess 3 years from now, we'll be having a big, huge podcast celebration as we're fixing to live stream as we're walking into GameStop to pick up NCAA football. Since we can officially say that.
Yeah, I was talking to some friends tonight, and I was like, I really hope that it's not going to take 2 years. But if it does,
I don't think
the reason why I say that, I hope it doesn't. But if it does, I'm not going to say it because like I want them to go with a mentality like Naughty Dog had, that we're not going to release this game until we know it's worth releasing.
Well, here's what they got to do. They know it's coming back, which I've said for years. You probably remember me. Just make random characters, random numbers with random stats. There's people out there, and you remember I used to pay them like $5. They would send me a USB drive. They would go through every single roster on every single college for 119 teams and put those people's names in there with their numbers. Or just generate names. Because when you have that incoming freshman class, they're going to be fake names anyway. They're not going to be random numbers. So go ahead and work out these licensing deals with the different, with the NCAA. So you have the actual Heisman, you have the actual SEC trophy, the actual Pac-12 trophy. Work out the things where you've got the USC Trojans, the Arkansas Razorbacks, all this stuff. Because in the last couple Madden games, you've had at least 6 to 8 college teams in your game on that face of the franchise. Not all from the same conference. It's been the ACC, the Pac-12, the SEC. So you've had those actual schools. You can't just say, well, the SEC will only let us have it. Like, this isn't a Madden game. Madden doesn't have rights to NCAA.
Yeah.
So, because I even said it this year playing this Madden 21. How in the world do they have licensing to have LSU and Clemson and they can't do a game? Makes no sense.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. They need to hurry and work this stuff out. It is a little shorthanded to get a game because they always came out in July. So it'd be shorthanded to get a game in production that would be worth a darn, I would think, before July. But you have a year and a half to start planning things out. Like, I honestly think, go ahead and start working on the gameplay. Work all that stuff out, and you should be able to, I don't know this, but you should be able to add all the fonts and jersey colors and all that stuff in later.
Yeah.
But I want to do, if I can get my buddy Kevin on here, I want to do a podcast with him because I have the perfect idea for an EA Sports game. And if somebody's listening, for some reason somebody connected to EA Sports ever listens to this, I think they should do a college NFL game merged together. We'll say $100. You save $20 if you buy this game together. And you know how the old NCAA games, you did like a playoff of a high school to build up your stats to see which college would pick you or which college you walk onto. You do that. You go to college. You play your 4 years. Now, you go to the NFL or you become a college coach. Start out as assistant, of course. Then, if you choose college, you work the ranks there, either promote yourself and go wherever you want to go, or go coach in the NFL. Or you upgrade and you become a high draft class in the NFL, play so many seasons, and quit and either become a college coach or an NFL coach. Like, have the game combined. I think that would be the coolest thing ever.
Do a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
So
yeah, I meant that. Yeah, for sure.
Anywho, again, appreciate you being on. Look forward to watching more videos. Everybody that's with us listening, Ross's tag is Lawdog Avenger Gaming, so look for that. He is streaming it live almost every night. If not, go back and just watch. Sign up for the subscription. That way it alerts you when he's live.
Yeah.
You can find him on Facebook. My tag is Titan Avenger Gaming. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube also. I'm streaming some of my franchise. I'm actually probably fixing to stream some tonight, which I know this will be aired tomorrow. So I played it last night, technically, if you want me to say that, of my franchise, of my Madden season. So look forward to all that and look forward to a podcast with the rest of us talking about some future things, possibly a Super Bowl one coming up this week. But anyways, appreciate everybody. Hope y'all have a do it.
I said, yeah, I appreciate y'all too. I appreciate you, Randy, inviting me on, wanting to do this. Like, we share a passion for these games. Like I said, if anybody's listening in the future, go play The Last of Us and Last of Us 2. You won't regret it. It's an excellent game, excellent series. Titan Avenger Gaming and Lawdog Avenger Gaming approved.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Appreciate it. We were signing out. Have a good week.
All right. See you guys.